Excellent.
Hi, welcome back. Today we're taking a technical look at the newly released Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition on the Xbox Series consoles. So how does it run? That's the big question. And which are the best graphics settings to use? Spoiler alert, it's not Bethesda's default settings. Similar to Skyrim's Anniversary Edition, this new package bundles the base game, all 6 DLC and a huge amount of Creation Club content, all into a single install. The update also includes a patch to the game. Now, this patch promises to correct some bugs we've been living with since 2024's next-gen update, and maybe, I'm hoping, the patch will improve the performance and stability of the game as well. We'll see. As you can see here in Sanctuary, frame rates sit comfortably at 60 FPS on the Series S and the Series X. Here we're using Bethesda's recommended 60 FPS performance mode. For testing, I'm using an established character, my man Wayland here. He's level 89. I have all the Creation Club content loaded, as you can probably guess, but I have no mods enabled, none at all. Think of Sanctuary as our baseline, but there are a couple of areas where Fallout 4 is known to struggle. The first place is the roof of the Corvega factory looking out over the Commonwealth. Frame rate sat at 56 for both the Series X and the Series S. Just remember the Series S, although less powerful, is actually only generating a 1440p image, not the 4K image of the Series X. Notice that using the recommended settings, we're getting drops in frame rate here, and some mods will drop FPS even further. For some examples, see my tree mods or my grass mods videos. If you're more interested in a higher graphic quality, then you can switch to visuals mode in the menu, but then we'll see about a 5-frame hit on FPS. The other place where the game struggles is downtown Boston. It's known as a frame rate killer for Fallout 4 on both consoles.
I can do this all day!
So the second test here is a mad 2-minute run through the streets of Boston. I call this the Run for Your Life test, and if you want to know more about this test, see this video. The frame rate dips you see are not here due to the NPC Stutter Bug, which I'll get to in a minute. These dips happen when the game is overloaded, or when I move into a new game cell.
Oh, hell no!
I recorded the same thing happening in Oblivion Remastered.
Oh, hell no!
The good news is that with the Anniversary Edition update, both consoles sit at 60 FPS more often than not. The Series X frame rate averages 59 over the 2-minute run, and the bottom 1% score is 51. Series S is similar. It averages 58 FPS with a bottom 1% of 50. So, like the Corvega factory roof test, there's no real FPS difference between the two consoles. But during the run through downtown Boston, we do experience FPS dips. I mentioned the bottom 1% to indicate the size of these dips, and when combined with these graphs, we can see how frequent the dips are over just 2 minutes. I don't mind losing a few frames. I probably wouldn't notice it during a normal gameplay, but sudden major dips like these you do notice, and I find them quite distracting, especially during combat. There is something that can be done about this, but before I talk about that, let's talk about game stuttering. Actually, before we talk about that, let's talk about the like button. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button. If you're interested in this kind of content, then consider subscribing to my channel at RamNexus. Thanks. Cheers. Ever since we got the next-gen update in May 2024, we've been playing Fallout 4 with this extra stuttering and freezing, thanks to what is often called the NPC Stutter Bug. This is when the game freezes for a second or so, like this. And this. and this. This happens when we have mods enabled that edit some aspect of the game's non-player characters, NPCs. The most popular mod that does this is the unofficial Fallout 4 patch, though the patch isn't causing the stutters. There's an error in the game code that was introduced with the next-gen update. As others have found, there is a predictable stutter you can find when entering Concord from the north. It's very easy to replicate. In a recent announcement, Bethesda specifically mentioned that the game patch coming with the Anniversary Edition will fix this bug. So, let's see if it did. So here's a few attempts going through the same location, and again, just loading up the unofficial patch, nothing else, and wandering around Concord. So this is a straightforward, simple test with one mod, but from what I can see, it has removed the stuttering. So the Anniversary Edition looks like to have fixed that stutter bug. It's very good news. Just quickly, another bug 2024's next-gen update introduced was the X-Ray VATS bug. We were able to locate enemies through walls using VATS. We still couldn't shoot through the walls, but the good news is the Anniversary Edition patch has fixed X-Ray VATS and won't let us target enemies we can't see. It won't let me target the legs because they are covered. Very nice. Oh look, there's a doggy over the water. Better go adopt him before he gets into any trouble. So far, I've been testing the game in Bethesda's default setting of 60 FPS performance mode, but that's not how I play it. As I've shown, Fallout Anniversary Edition doesn't always hit its 60 FPS target with the default mode. It can also generate noticeable rapid drops in frame rate, especially when we're exploring downtown. Big FPS drops, distracting and unwanted. The solution is to play it in 40 FPS visuals mode. So why 40 FPS visuals mode? Two reasons. The first is image quality. Compared to performance mode, visuals mode generates a better looking game. It has longer draw distances, lighting is improved, and there are more decals, read bullet holes, which persist in the game world for longer. The second reason to consider 40 FPS visuals is stable frame rate. I've found running the game in 40 FPS eliminates frame rate dips, and that's what I want. For the static test on Corvega's roof, we see a steady 40 FPS. Importantly, this is what the 2-minute run-through of Boston looks like at 40 FPS compared to 60. We can see there are no dips at all in the 2-minute run-through Boston in 40 FPS visuals mode. To run the game at 40 FPS, you need to have a display that supports that refresh rate. And of course, you need to set your console output to 120Hz. Quick tip though, if you also play Skyrim on your Xbox, remember to turn this setting back to 60 when running Skyrim, or you'll experience stuttering in Skyrim. Okay, back to Fallout. The only downside of 40 FPS visuals mode is the lower frame rate. This might be a deal breaker for some, but I recommend trying it out. It is noticeably smoother than 30 FPS and very playable in my opinion. So I recommend trying the game out in 40 FPS visuals mode. Let me know what you think. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it.
Lock and load!
Give me your thoughts. It's only been a couple of days since the Anniversary Edition has come out, and already I can see many people reporting problems. I've had a few myself. Yeah. Okay. Hope this was useful. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Ram Nexus out.